I think everyone is, from what I see on Twitter and everything, people are getting a little bit too bullish on Bitcoin right now. And from what I'm seeing on the chart, I'm not exactly sure that's the case right now. There are some little things that shouldn't be avoided or, discarded. And I want to start this explanation by showing you the weekly chart first. Because what we have here are essentially weekly levels, places that have been support and resistance for a long while. And this is one of my ways of doing that, which is basically just looking at open and close of candles that are synchronized, such as this most recent one, which was our previous pre-2024 all-time high. And before that we had this. Marking out levels like this is interesting, especially on the weekly time frame, because it gives you a very high time frame targets. It's good for investments, it's good for setting long trade setups. And sorry, I meant long trade targets. And for example, in this case, this weekly level, it happened. Open and close were left in touch for a while, and that's what I marked it. When we broke above it, it was a line of support for some time until it broke down. When we basically came up to it again, you can see that this was a very major level, 60,000, which is also a very round number, so also a very psychological number. But keep in mind these two levels. This line over here comes from these open and close synchronized, and well, it was a support and resistance zone. This was a little bit more choppy, but this was kind of perfect over here. It's also synchronized with a weekly fair value gap, so the confluence above confluence. This one, the same logic. Price stopped going down here, and this was support and resistance for a long time, and this was also where price struggled to get past. So right now we're at an interesting zone where we are above the all-time high once again, the weekly level of the previous all-time high, that's what I mean. And obviously it's important for us to maintain this level if we are already supposed to go to 80, 90, 100k, whatever we want to speculate about. But besides that, we are not exactly able to break new highs, right? Keep also in mind that we are creating a trend line on these last highs, and eventually, if this is broken, nothing really tells you that bull market is completely restarted, because I can perfectly imagine a scenario where we just SFP this level, the all-time high, or maybe eventually even go to 75k, and that is it. That could be it. I've been talking about this Fibonacci deviation for a while back. And for example, let me just configure the visibility here. We came to the 272 target and went back to the middle of the range, and this is a very interesting line to keep in check, because I can perfectly imagine a scenario where we go to 77k and then all the way back down, because on the weekly you don't really see a support here, right? There's not really a demand. And it's interesting how it perfectly lines up with the previous weekly level. Okay. Not only that, now if I go to the daily, keep in mind this so far can perfectly have the same reaction points as typical distribution has, being that this is the buying climax, this is the secondary test, sorry, the automatic rally. Secondary test here, this is your sign of weakness, and this can just be the almost end of your upthrust. Now, is it possible that we go above this high? I think so. It's looking like it. At least this high, it's looking like it. If you are in the long, I would probably keep it. But after that, I'm not really sure if we're going straight away to 80k. Doesn't really seem like it. First of all, we have to close a daily candle above this. So far we haven't, but you know, the day is not over. And we could still do it tomorrow. So that's besides the point. But if we don't close, the same way that we failed to go above this high, which in turn made these previous lows weaken. It's the same way that if we fail to go above this high, these lows are very weak. Then it's up for this demand area to hold price. And this doesn't really look, to me, this looks like a liquidity curve. So be aware of that. If we start coming down, I don't think this is going to stop price. It's just an assumption, of course. But it's looking like it's not going to be able to. So it really does depend on what happens when we break these highs, and which highs do we break. Because after that, I wouldn't really be surprised if we see a distribution starting. It really depends on what happens. But I wouldn't get too bullish right now. Just keep that in mind. I'll see you guys soon.